Today I just wanted to talk about what I did to actually clear up my skin. And I'm putting my skincare routine at the very end of this video because that isn't actually what helped me clear up my skin. I've been trying out a lot of different products and I've found things that worked for my dry skin, but those products didn't actually help me clear up my skin. So I didn't actually have like really bad acne like all over my cheeks. I had a little bit of acne on my forehead when I was a teenager, and maybe by the time I was like 19, that kind of cleared up, but what replaced it was so much worse. I started getting really bad like hormonal acne, like the really deep painful ones on my upper lip and around my chin. And starting around that age, I would get them pretty much like a week before my period, and they would kind of start going away during my period. And by the time my period ended, I would just have like a scar. So for about like a week every single month, I still had clear skin, except for like the acne scars that were kind of left over. Those were like easier to hide than like actual pimples. I'm using a brow pencil that I really don't care for, but it's the only one I have left, and I need to use it up before I can buy a new one to try out. And it's just too creamy, not defining enough, and it's just not my favorite, but we're working with it. For my face, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation, and I'm gonna apply that with a sponge. So over the past few years, like as I've gotten older, my acne had gotten significantly worse. Not just like the occasional breakouts on my cheek from using like a dirty makeup sponge or from not changing my pillowcase often enough, but the ones around my lip, my upper lip and my chin, they would be like one right after another, like really deep, really painful. And I'll try to put some photos up if I can find any, but honestly, they killed my self-esteem so much. I really did not take any photos. And even when I tried to like hide them, they wouldn't go away. And this kind of started around 2020. So I thought it was because we had to reuse masks at work. So that was what was causing the acne. But I just kept making more and more excuses of like what the potential cause could be. I had not really changed my skincare routine at that point, so there really wasn't an explanation for why I was getting just like so many pimples one right after another. And I was using so many acne patches. I was just trying to make them go away and nothing really worked. So it got to the point where, a little TMI, but my periods were really heavy also, and I started thinking like maybe it was a hormonal thing. So I made an appointment with a like specialty OBGYN who specialized in endometriosis and PCOS, and just a deeper dive to look into my hormones versus just going to like the OBGYN that my insurance covered. So I actually paid like a lot of money to try to figure out what was going on. I really thought it was something more. So when I went to her, she suggested that I start cutting out like fragrances and just things out of my diet that didn't make me feel good. So I had already been cutting out gluten because my boyfriend is gluten sensitive. And since cutting it out, I've actually gotten gluten sensitive. Like when I do eat gluten now, I do not feel good. I get like brain fog. So I've already been staying away from gluten, but dairy, I had not been able to stay away from dairy. Under my eyes, I'm just using the Fenty Beauty Bright Fix Eye Brightener in the shade Golden Ivory. So I am lactose intolerant, and every time I do eat dairy, it's like a war between me and my toilet the next day, and it's always a losing battle for me. But dairy is just so good. Like, I love eating cheese. I love eating ice cream. I think dairy is just amazing, and I cannot hold myself back. So I've been like pretty lax about my diet at this point. So I was cutting out different foods. At the same time, I was extremely stressed with work, and I was just so burnt out. I was just very, very unhappy. So we really thought like stress could be a major contributor to the acne. And then I realized like every single time I stopped eating dairy for an extended amount of time, like for a week or so, my skin would slowly start to clear up, and then I would slip up and eat dairy again, like a lot of it, like yogurt and ice cream. I just could not stay away. And I slowly started to realize every single time I started eating dairy, I would get breakouts like immediately. And it was as if the more I ate dairy and the older I got, like the more intense the breakouts got. Like before it was probably like one pimple, but now it had been like multiple at the same time. And it was as if I ran out of space on my upper lip and I started getting them on my lip line, which was so painful, let alone like embarrassing because you couldn't really hide it. Like they would swell up. It would make me look like I had a swollen lip, like I got punched in the face, and it was just not chill. So I've actually like consistently cut out dairy now, and I only eat it occasionally. Like I'll eat pizza once in a while, I'll have a little bit of ice cream once in a while, but for the most part, I try to stay pretty dairy free, and that has actually kept my skin clear. Now, I do get the occasional breakouts still from like using a dirty makeup brush or, not changing my pillowcase as often as I should. But for the most part, like my acne on like my mustache line, like on my upper lip, has gone away. I get really tiny ones on my chin sometimes when I get like clogged pores and if my skin's just like unhappy when I'm traveling, but those are way more manageable. And when I do get those really tiny breakouts, I do use this Yul acne spot cream that I got off YesStyle. And I just put like a little dab of that on my like pimple, depending on the size of it. If my pimple's small, it actually goes away the next day. But if it's like a bigger, deeper pimple, it does take a few days. But it's actually been the only cream that has helped my skin for spot treatment, and it helped even faster than like pimple patches. I'll put some links down below. Hopefully I'll be able to find it so you guys can buy it if you guys are interested. But I had tried all of the home remedies possible. Like I wish I had footage from when I used to do YouTube and my mom would make me like cucumber vinegar, I don't know, like this liquid toner, and I would like slather that on my face hoping it would just dry out the pimples. And of course like vinegar is gonna dry stuff out, but I had tried everything under the sun, and cutting out dairy and this cream is the only thing that has really helped my skin. Well, essentially that was my big secret of what really helped clear out my skin. So if you haven't tried that yet, I would highly suggest you try out eliminating things from your diet that already make you not feel good. Like if you are lactose intolerant, like try actually cutting that out. And also like stress was a really big contributor to my acne. Like I was just so burnt out and unhappy with my current life situation and work and career that it definitely didn't help my skin. So just, try looking into some other causes and factors if you are having hormonal breakouts like I was, instead of just focusing on skincare, because it can be so frustrating and you could spend just so much money on all this different kind of skincare, and if it's something like internal, it might not help your skin, it might not help you with your problem. And even just that can be so frustrating, and you could just end up spending so much money. Like I spent hundreds, like maybe even close to $1,000 on doctor's appointments to really try to figure out like what this acne was, like what these hormonal problems were, even though my labs were like coming back clear. And it turns out a lot of it was stress, but also dairy. But again, I will show you my current skincare routine. I have very dry skin and I live in the desert, so it's very, very dry. Although during summers we do get some monsoons, and hopefully this year will be a wet one, but when it does rain, it gets extremely humid. So just very extreme weather. And as far as my skincare routine has been going, I've just been changing up my products so much. And especially like after my huge declutter video, I really just found that I was wasting so many products. Like I was just buying things and like not really using them, which is why I've just been a little more conscious about shopping so much. And while being like conscious about shopping, I started looking into brands more. Like I just never really thought to check if a brand is cruelty free or not. Like I just assumed like no one tests on animals now, but that is not the case. And unfortunately, I had just restocked a whole bunch of skincare before the huge declutter and before like realizing that brands still tested on animals, which is why like I do specify whether things are cruelty free or not in my videos, because I was shocked. Maybe I just like been living under a rock, but I was just so shocked that so many companies still tested on animals. Like any brand that sells in mainland China, they're required by law to test on animals. And a lot of brands, they say like, oh, we don't believe in testing on animals unless it's required by law. And some companies, they are able to sell to China and like kind of circumvent that law by only selling online. So it's not like impossible to do the workaround, and it's kind of like how strong are your morals if you'd rather make money and test on animals versus not, you know? But I'm definitely not the type of person who will like judge you for using products tested on animals. Like I have been too, and I've only like made this decision very recently that I wanted to support more cruelty-free brands, which is why I'm talking about it more, because it's just relevant to my life. I'm not one to force my opinions and my thoughts down other people's throats. Like, you're an adult, you make your own decisions, but I'm only sharing this because I didn't realize that so many companies still tested on animals. So that is the reason, like, just to share in case you didn't know. But okay, enough keeping you guys on your toes. This is my current skincare routine. I've been testing out a lot of different skincare. So the most recent thing I've been testing out is a cleanser. And this one's by Weleda. They are a cruelty-free brand. They are climate conscious, sustainable brand. This one is their Nourishing Oil to Milk Cleanser, and I use this after I take off my makeup before I hop into the shower. And I just squeeze out a little bit, and it's like a really thick oil consistency. And you just rub it into your skin, and it's so like slick, and it doesn't feel like oily. It still feels like a balm. It's like sticky, but it feels really good to like massage into the skin. And then you use some water to emulsify it, which I don't really think it does much with water. And then after that, I just rinse it off in the shower. But I think it's so nourishing. Like after I've washed my hands, it doesn't strip my skin of like its natural oils. Like it's still like very nourished feeling. So I've been really liking that. You can get it from Whole Foods, you can get it from Amazon. I'll have the links down below. And yeah, I've just been really liking it as a facial cleanser. It really does not take off makeup though. Like, you know how some cleansers will additionally take off more makeup in case you missed any? This one doesn't do that. The smell is like a very light lavender scent, but it's not an artificial lavender. It's a very like real lavender essential oil smell, so it's more like tea-like, if you know what I mean. And speaking of Weleda, I also picked up their body lotion. This is their Skin Food Nourishing Body Lotion. It's for dry to very dry skin, and it's very surprising because it's quite liquidy. It's like very lotiony. And prior to this, I've been using like the thickest Nivea lotions, Eucerin, like eczema creams, because that's how dry my skin is. So I was really concerned like how liquidy this is. But because it's so liquidy, you don't actually need that much to spread all over your body. Like just this small amount, as I keep rubbing it in, it just, you know, keeps spreading, which is really nice because it's not like cheap lotion. It's not like a couple bucks. So it's really nice that it actually will spread all over your body and you won't need like that much. But once it's on your body, your skin stays moisturized. Like I shower at nighttime and I put this on, and in the morning my skin is still moisturized. Like it's still like nourished. It's not tacky, it's not like sticky, but it still feels like I have a barrier on my skin, which is really nice. So that actually really surprised me. Like I've been putting it on my heels, I put it all over, and I used to have like dry patches on like my back, my shoulders, my heels were cracked, and just using this has actually healed all of my skin. Now, this also smells like lavender. And it is that like natural lavender scent, so it doesn't give me a headache, but I also just don't love lavender, so the scent is only okay for me. And I love a good just yummy scent. I'm like particularly picky about them because I make my own candles and I run a little candle business, so I'm so particular about my scents. And I've smelled so many essential oils and like so many different suppliers that I'm just like very picky about my scents. And even though I'm so picky, this is still a very good like lavender. It's still like a very high quality lavender essential oil smell, you know? For my face, I used to be a die-hard Kiehl's fan. Everything in my skincare collection was Kiehl's essentially. But over the past few years, I've been experimenting with some other things because, to be honest, Kiehl's is pretty pricey. So when I went to Japan, I picked up a lot of Hada Labo, and this one in particular is like their premium hydrating milk filled with hyaluronic acid. And I use this as a serum essentially underneath my moisturizer. When I am in a more humid climate, I definitely notice that my skin sucks up the moisture when I use this. Like my skin looks way less dehydrated, especially because like after moving to the desert, I've been noticing a lot of like dehydration lines on my forehead. It's not like wrinkles. I mean, they could be wrinkles, but the fact that when I go to a more humid climate and they disappear makes me feel convinced that they are dehydration lines. So this actually works pretty well. And again, nothing in my skincare line currently is cruelty-free. So the one thing that is cruelty-free, I will let you know. But yeah, it's alcohol-free, so it's actually pretty gentle on my skin. It doesn't irritate my skin. I have very sensitive skin, and it does fine with this. For moisturizer, in the daytime, I've been using the Olay Vitamin C Peptide 24. I got this from my mom's like skincare drawer because she low-key kind of hoards things, and so I was digging through her drawer to see what new products she has that she just hasn't been using, because since quitting my job, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on skincare. So she gave me this, and it smells amazing. It smells like peaches, and I love all of Olay's scents. I think just growing up, my mom and my grandma would use Olay, so the smells are just so nostalgic to me. But this one smells like peaches. This one doesn't smell like their Olay smell. And I've been using this during the daytime because the moisturizer I use at night that I used to use in the daytime would pill underneath my makeup. So this one actually does pretty well underneath makeup, and it's more of like a jelly consistency, but I don't have any problems with it. It's a decent moisturizer. It actually moisturizes pretty well. If you've used like the Kiehl's Ultra Facial, like the regular cream in the white jar, or like the First Aid Beauty Big Jug moisturizer, those ones are not moisturizing enough for me. Like I feel like after I put it on, my skin still feels dry. So if you've tried those and that's how your skin also feels, then in comparison, this one is much more moisturizing. For nighttime, my moisturizer is the Kiehl's Super Multi-Corrective Cream. I've used this for years, like since 2016. I feel like it really does moisturize my skin, helps my skin look youthful, radiant. It is a little pricey, and it smells a little funky now that they've changed up the formula. But besides the fact that they're not cruelty free, I would still keep using this because that's just how good this moisturizer is. It is so moisturizing, so hydrating. My skin loves this and soaks it up. So if you have sensitive skin, dry skin, and you feel like your skin's a little dull, like this has really just been my go-to. I've always gone back to this, and my skin always feels ultra hydrated after using this. Going back before moisturizer, this is the Ordinary Glycolic Acid 7% exfoliating toner. I just picked this up recently, and I only use this about like once or twice a week when I remember. And I use this before any of my moisturizers or serums. Like I use this on clean skin, and this one is cruelty free. So you can squeeze this on a cotton pad and wipe it on your face, or you can be lazy like me and just like squeeze it on your face and like rub it in. It's kind of like very watery. And I've used glycolic acid before, and I really do like it as an exfoliator because it it helps clear out the dry skin around my nose because I have just the worst allergies and I'm always blowing my nose. So a lot of just like dry skin happens around here, and I do feel like this helps with that. For my sunscreen, this is the Innisfree Glowy Finish Daily UV Defense Sunscreen SPF 36. I do really like this sunscreen because it feels like lotion on my face. I hate like thick sunscreen on my face, but this feels like lotion. It soaks right into my skin. I don't notice it for the rest of the day. There's no white cast. It is beautiful under makeup. So just the very unfortunate fact that they are not cruelty free means that I probably won't be repurchasing this. And for my lips, I have extremely dry lips. I've actually had like my lips starting to tear on this outer corner, and it started maybe when I was like 18, but it went away completely. But this past year, it's been happening over and over again. And the only way I've been able to make it stop is by using Aquaphor. I would start by putting just a little bit on my lip, and then I was just like, why am I using lip balm at this point? I might as well just use this only. So I've just been using this as lip balm and from the corners of my lips, and they've been pretty happy and moisturized. But once I use this up, I do have a few lip balms that I am eager to try that are cruelty free, and I've heard raving reviews about them. So looking forward to using this all up so I can try some new things. But yeah, that is my skincare routine. Pretty basic. There's not much happening there besides like packing on as much moisture as I can get. I really don't have other like skin concerns that I'm trying to target, so that's why my skincare is like pretty basic, and none of this really affected my breakouts. They didn't help with them, they didn't cause them, so that is why this portion of the video is at the very end. But I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I hope that your breakouts clear up, because I know how terrible it feels to have skin that breaks out. It really kills my self-confidence. It's painful. It's just not fun. So I feel you guys. I understand how you feel, and that is why I am not gatekeeping anything. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try my best to answer them. I'm not a dermatologist. I am not an expert in skincare. I can only speak to you in regards to my personal experience, but I hope that I can still help you out if you have any questions, and I hope that this already helped you out. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.